Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of CFOs Not Talking Finance, where we try to move beyond the balance sheet and the CFO title and understand the people behind the role. This podcast is for anyone curious about how finance leaders actually think, and not necessarily just about numbers and balance sheets, but about their people, the systems they're using, and change management. Today's guest is a finance leader who brings a very rare mix of structure, empathy, and clarity. He has been known for turning complex systems into something clean and sustainable, mentoring young professionals, and approaching leadership with a very human lens, so to speak. But what makes his story truly stand out is where it started. Right from juggling door to door sales, Sunday college, and CA studies, not just for the prestige that comes along with the CA degree, but as he said in his words, because it was the most accessible path forward at that stage. So, this conversation is going to be, I'm sure, full of sharp insights and resilience. What you don't generally hear in corporate leadership stories. So, Mr. Mudassir, thank you so much for joining us. And the first thing that we would like to delve into is about your CA story, how it wasn't planned and how it just happened while you were looking for something practical, something affordable. So we would like to, know a lot about how that phase shaped the way you think about work, how it affects your discipline, and about your general outlook and your journey so far. So if you could talk
Thanks.
about that.
Thanks, Chispa, first of all, and thanks to Mr. Damodaran. He has identified me to be part of this episode. So first, thanks for that. And now coming to your question, how CA happened in my life. So it is not by choice or by chance. It was not my parents' dream or somebody else's dream that my child should become a CA, nothing like that. So I became CA largely because of the circumstances. So I come from a very normal family, not very great financially. So after completing my intermediate, I was in a stage, how do I go ahead? Because I was not having that financial wherewithal to do regular BCom or any other degree per se. So I thought, seeing the circumstance in the family, seeing how father, mother, and my other elder sisters were working, I thought, let me start earning at this stage itself when I'm in graduation first year. So that is how I went to correspondence college, attending only in the Sunday contact classes, and remaining all the 5 days or 6 days of the week, I used to do, as you just told, door-to-door marketing. That was the direct marketing basically. And then only on Sundays I used to study. So this I continued for all the 3 years of my graduation. Only towards the end of the year where I have to attend exam. So at that time I used to take some subject-specific tuitions. That's it. Then after completing my graduation, still I was in that stage. At that point of time, I thought, let me do some course, some further studies where I don't drain myself financially. So that is how the CA option came in. And when I started analyzing how much it will spend, so you will not imagine, I've just paid 3,000 rupees to get admission into CA. And we used to do 3 years articleship after registering for CA. Their monthly stipend was 300 rupees. It was not even sufficient to get a bus pass. And 450 rupees for the second year and 600 rupees for the third year. I'm talking about 99 to 2003, that phase. So this was fine. So I thought that I'm not investing further on study in terms of financially, but I'm gaining something. Then when I completed my CA, I found the real worth of it. So I thought, maybe I have just spent 30 or 40,000 in completing the entire CA of 4 years. Then I got the worth. Okay, this was worth it. The decision what I took was definitely a worth. And immediately after completing my CA, I got campus recruitment, a job, and there was no looking back since then. So that was really enriching experience.
Yes, and not a lot of people realize that, articleship is where you're just being given a stipend and you're living hand to mouth. A lot of people, especially even when we were in college and we used to do articleship, people used to think, it's like a first job and you're making enough money to count as a salary. But then, it's hard to explain to non-CA friends that you're you're probably spending more traveling to the office and back than you are in earning the stipend. But like you said, yes, it's the takeaways are not salary at that point of time, but everything that you get to learn, and it really builds the foundation for the type of CA that you become. So articleship, and I'm sure you would agree, is a very defining moment, a very formative moment in any young CA's life.
Yes, true.
uh, yeah, how did you decide that you didn't want to get into practice and that you wanted to work in a corporate job and you took up the campus placement?
Yeah, so this is again connected with my previous story. So after struggling for 3 years with this 300, 400 rupees stipend monthly basis, I want to get momentum into getting bigger money. So if we get into practice, it's not really easy. The struggling period continues even further. So that was a rather easy decision for me not to go into practice. And that is how I applied for campus recruitment and I got a job. And you will not believe, entire 4 years what I spent to become CA, I got in my first month's salary. So it was the very easy decision for me to move on.
Understood. And another thing that you mentioned is in your day-to-day and at work, you are very motivated when you have a setup that is a little messy and not something that is super streamlined. So you prefer scattered processes. You prefer teams where people aren't completely in sync with each other. But that is in contrast, I think, to what most people would want. Most people would try to avoid these situations, and they would want something more streamlined. Why do you particularly enjoy taking up these kind of challenges?
So, because Chitra, the straight answer for this is I love actually building system that outlast people. That is important. So, whatever the work I'm doing today, whatever my team is doing, should be independent of the person who is doing. It should be system driven. That is the reason. For this, my background is I am right from beginning. I'm a very process oriented person, and I would like to keep the things very organized and disciplined. If you see my office, my decks, or if you see my home, my cupboard, even my wife sometimes gets messed up with it. She says, "मुझे भी कोई जगह बता दो, मैं जाके वहाँ बैठ जाती हूँ." So sometimes it gets so annoying, but the end result, it has helped me in becoming a matured person. It has helped me in many ways in personal as well as professional.
You mentioned you are more of a systems oriented person, but I think you are also definitely more of a people leader, because there is a particular story which you shared where one of your team members was probably a little apprehensive that or rather scared that they would make a mistake, and you mentioned that you said, no, it's fine, I'm going to stand behind your decision. So that actually says a lot more about your approach. You are a lot more people first as a leader. And when that particular incident happened, what did that teach you about leadership, and how have you applied that idea of trust, and is that still something that your team members kind of rely on you for?
Yeah, definitely. See, though that story is almost 10 years old, more than 10 years in fact, but it has helped me, not more than me, the other person. It has just reinforced my belief that ownership builds capability, which is very, very faster than instruction. So if I, in that situation where the person came and told me, I'm very scared, there are very tight timelines for month close, I fear I may not do it. So I told, no problem, give your best. If something goes wrong, I'm there. I didn't say, okay, show me what you're doing. Let me show you what what correction you have to do. I told you, take ownership. That's what I told you, that ownership, it builds capability for the person. And you will not believe that person. If I see now that person, he is now at a much, much bigger scale. And if I see in the hierarchy, it's of course in the other company, he has grown a lot. So even today he tells, so whatever you have taught me, whatever the trainings you gave, whatever the practical trainings, it really helped in his career. So it's not only for me, it's for the team as well. That's the leadership philosophy.
I think you mentioned a very poignant term where you said ownership is better than instruction when it comes to kind of leading teams. So I think that's a big takeaway for us in terms of what you said. But there is one particular dynamic I would like to ask you about, is where you have probably worked with senior people, as in people who are older than you, who reported to you. And you also mentioned that you once had a boss who was younger than you, right? And in Indian workplaces, this dynamic honestly can be quite tricky. What did both those experiences teach you about, firstly, adapting to that situation, and also mutual respect for both the designation as well as the age?
Yes, yes. So I'll take 2 minutes first to give you the entire scenario. So then only I will can come to the learning. So I'm talking about again 2003 in my campus recruitment. I got a job. It was a public sector undertaking. So when I joined there, I was recruited as deputy manager of finance, and then my boss reported. So these are the team with whom we have to work. So when I see there's one lady who is about to get retired in next 2 months, and there are two other persons who are 20 years older than me. So my first reaction was, oh my God, how can I work with this kind of people? But then I realized that I need to step into their shoes. Their experience is vital. They have more experience. I may have more knowledge, but they have more experience. So that gave me an opportunity to get into their shoes, understand from their point of view, understand their working styles. Always I used to follow this one principle of listen more than you speak. That's what I learned in that experience of working with the people who are older than. That was the biggest understanding. And what I realized is once this trust is established for the person who is older than you, then alignment automatically comes. And once the alignment is there, results will come naturally. So that was my biggest learning in that experience. This I'm talking about my first job. So years later, many more years later, I got an opportunity to work with a boss who is almost 10 years younger than me. Now, this is another very different phase for me. So I had to unlearn many things. I have to understand the fresh perspective which the boss is coming, because he's coming obviously as my boss, so he must be definitely more knowledgeable. So it gave me a totally new perspective. It forced me to think more, think fresh, think from another perspective, anything. And it gave me a new approach to take my work, and it forced me to work with renewed curiosity. So all in all, Chitra, so together these two experiences shaped a core belief I carry even this today is leadership is not about age or hierarchy. It is nothing to do with age per se, the person can be older or younger. It has what it has to do then, it has about adaptability, how I adapt to the situation, how I adapt to the understanding with the other person. It has a lot to do with empathy. And then finally, the mutual respect. That is more important. Whether the person is younger or older, if they respect you and you also respect them, then things will automatically happen. That's it.
Understood. And while you're telling us that this taught you about leadership and respect, can you also tell us the story of the mentor who possibly taught you the importance of communication? Because you mentioned that a mentor once told you that leadership is not about how much you know, but how simply or how well you can explain it to somebody else. That's a very practical insight, especially in finance. And how do you go about simplifying things for your team, for your CEO, or even maybe the enabling functions, non-finance functions, without losing the essence of the story?
Yes. So the crux of that, it's a very old person. He was one of my professors during my graduation days. I used to take tuitions from him, and I continue to seek support from him whenever I'm in any professional dilemma. So this was his words: leadership is not about how much you know, it's actually about how much you can simplify for others. So I'll tell you the practical example how I adopted and followed this. So let's say I'm meeting a business head. He's recently promoted as business head and he doesn't understand the P&L. So when I first talked about him P&L, he said, what is P&L? Is it an acronym or ऐसी word है नहीं यार? P मतलब profit, L मतलब loss. Okay, क्या होता वो? Okay, so now what I always believe is if you understand any complicated term, how much you understood depends on how easily, how simply you can tell it to others. So I used the same logic and told him, भैया प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस कुछ नहीं है, आप कितना कमाते हो कितना गवाते हो, ओ उतना ही है, वही है प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस, वही है, that's it. So he understood what is profit and loss. I did not tell him what is the debit, what is credit, this is how you maintain ledger, nothing. He understood. So this is what I learned from that mentor. And it was, and applying it even today, Chitra.
Yeah, where it's easier to kind of simplify things, because I feel like a lot of people prefer finance to be seen as very complicated, so that they in turn get a feeling of power from it, that okay, it's a very complicated matter of which I am the master, which is why they try to gatekeep it. But like you said, simplifying things will probably make a lot more people understand it, and thereby not leave it as mysterious as people generally perceive finance to be.
True, very true.
One more thing, sir, you often quote shairi at work and at home. I mean, not just casually. I know we know you're passionate about it, but more also as a way to understand, that particular moment and can kind of live in that reflection. What do you think, or rather, why do you think shairi connects with you so deeply? And how has it become a part of your leadership style? Do you use it to motivate your team members? And we would also definitely like to hear you recite at least one shairi for us.
So if you want, I can tell you one or two shares also, but I'll tell the background behind it first. See, I come from a family where Urdu is spoken at length. So my mama, my mother, and my sisters, they all love shairi. So it is there in my blood maybe. But it's only that I'm not able to pursue further on this. So I just, whenever I read, I just keep on noting this and then use it according to the situation. So I'll just tell you one or two such share. So you understand, na, share and shairi. So, okay. So, but this is not my own share. That's what I'm giving a disclaimer. I've not written it. It is written by old prominent poets or shayars. So, but the situation is like this now. So I have to start a big project, let's say, and it's very ambitious. But I have to start. I know that I have to. There's no other person who is going to come and do for me. But I need some encouragement to start. It's a self-encouragement. And then if somebody else is also have to support me in that, so I give this share to them. And many people in my office already knows this, because many times I told them. So the share goes like this. So you have to say Irshad.
Irshad, of course.
Okay. So मंजिल तो मिल जाएगी. मंजिल, destination. मंजिल तो मिल जाएगी, भटक कर ही सही. भटक कर is you lost your way.
Yeah.
भटक गए बोलते. Okay. So मंजिल तो मिल जाएगी, भटक कर ही सही. गुमराह तो वो है. गुमराह is the one who lost his home. He is on the road basically. गुमराह है बेचारा. So the shares goes like this. मंजिल तो मिल जाएगी, भटक कर ही सही. गुमराह तो वो है जो घर से निकले ही नहीं. So even if I don't start my project, how will I complete it? I have to first start it first. So that is how I tell this, and this gives not only push to me, for the other person as well. Arey yaar, sahi bole yaar, sahi share bole, chalo let's start working. Otherwise, I will become gumrah. So that is how I use this. And recently, I used another share during our one of the annual meets. So this I because there were so many things, so much ambition. We have to do this. This is our AOP for the year. So I wanted to give some positive Urdu poetry to them. So I narrated this share to them. This is like this. कुछ किए जाओ. Thank you. कुछ किए जाओ लेके नामे खुदा. मतलब please do something in the name of God. कुछ ना करना बड़ी खराबी है. If you are not doing anything, it is very, very bad. So कुछ किए जाओ लेके नामे खुदा. कुछ ना करना बड़ी खराबी है. कामयाबी कोई चीज नहीं. There's nothing called success actually. So कुछ किए जाओ लेके नामे खुदा. कुछ ना करना बड़ी खराबी है. कामयाबी कोई चीज नहीं. काम करना ही कामयाबी. So if you are doing something, that itself is success. There is nothing called a separate object that I have to achieve this. Nothing. So it applies for my work. It applies for my personal thing, everywhere. So just to start doing it and you will do it. That's it. You want any more?
What is very interesting, sir, between these two shares that you quoted, they both have that where people have that, we used to say, fear of missing out, but there is also something called fear of finding out. People are so scared that, okay, if I start to do this or if I venture out to do this, I might fail. So it's better to not do anything at all. So in that fear of finding out that they are probably not competent or it's not meant for them, they don't commence doing the task only. And which is what I think both of these, couplets that you recited, both of them have the same theme, that it is better to do it and fail rather than not do anything. That was the first one about, that person being Gumrah who didn't even
Yes, yes.
leave from his house. And this one is where, you don't have to try and reach success. Doing the job itself is
Success.
what is so rewarding.
Right.
Yeah. So wonderful. I think you have a very innate talent in terms of picking out the right shairi for the moment. Then so one more thing that we would really like to ask you is what you said at the very first when we asked you in terms of, where you mentioned you're a very system oriented person, where you like to kind of build a process or build a system that will outlast you, that will outlast, the people who are a part of that team. So in a world where honestly everybody wants credit and everybody wants to climb the corporate ladder, that's a rare approach where you want to build something that's going to outlast you without getting necessarily the credit for that. Can you just tell us why making that long-term impact, actually your shairis are only the answer to it, but making that kind of long-term impact, whether or not you get the credit for it or not, why is that important to you?
See, what matters is not the result, the effort, right? So if you make the effort with the right intent, result will automatically come. Even my CEO says the same thing. Inaction will not be tolerated. Taking action and getting wrong results is fine. We are here to correct for it, but you have to take action. So this is exactly the reason which I also have strong belief that whatever you do, but that's what, as you told, it's there in my Buddha shares the same thing.
Yeah, correct. And that also speaks to, how what your, ambition leads to in terms of not necessarily doing the best thing or, the perfect thing, but just getting up and doing the right thing every day according to what, right or wrong means to you. So wonderful. Thank you so much for answering our questions in so much detail. We do have a small, rapid fire or a quick fire round that we like to call it, where you can't think too much. You just have to answer, the first thing that comes to your mind. And most of these are silly questions, so please pardon that.
Okay.
If you have to brainstorm, where do you do your best thinking? While walking, on an Excel sheet, or in the whiteboard or a notebook?
Notebook, pen and paper always supports me.
Nice. What is one finance concept that you wish more sales and marketing people understood?
PNL. There's nothing better than PNL. Everybody should know in and out how what comes in, what goes out, what makes me more profit. So it's PNL.
Got it. What is one thing that you hope your team always remembers about working with you?
Integrity. That will be the first and foremost. And then second thing is discipline, followed with consistency.
Understood. And what is your go-to share for a Monday morning?
Office.
Yeah, but what is a share that kind of pumps you up for the rest of the week? Do you have any particular favorite shairi of yours?
Acha, for Monday morning.
Yes, for Monday morning to set the tone for the rest of the week.
Okay. So this is again very interesting. I'll take 1 minute, even though it's a rapid fire question. This is very interesting and close to my heart share. So it starts like this. Chalte raho to raha khud raha ban jati. Again, it is relating with my previous shares, but the meaning is very deep. Chalte raho to raha khud raha ban jati, which means if you are walking or driving on the road and you don't know where this road leads to, what you have to do, if you stand there, nothing will happen. You have to just keep on moving. So chalte raho, raha khud raha ban jati hai. Means the road itself will tell you where you have to go, where you are going. चलते रहो तो राह खुद राह बन जाती है, नाम खुदा साथ हो, नाम खुदा साथ हो तो हर सफर इबादत बन जाती है. So which means if you remember God, if God is in your heart and if you're moving, that movement itself, that journey itself will become worship. That's the crux.
Amazing. Wonderful. I think that's kind of the essence of who you are as a person, what we have discovered today in the podcast. Very honest and refreshing conversation. I think, your journey has repeatedly reminded us that You don't need a perfect start. You need discipline, you need consistency, and the mindset of let me just do the next right thing, right? Let me just walk the path, and the path itself will become worship or the journey. So, thank you so much, sir, for joining us on this episode. We hope you had a good time. Thank you so much, sir. Have a good day.